Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today was reported by Bleacher Report and The Athletic that the New York Jets are interested in trading for the number one overall pick that belongs to the Tennessee Titans. And now in the last couple of days, both New York teams have been reported to be interested in trading for the number one overall pick, the Giants and the Jets. And I think it's a little bit harder for the New York Jets to make a move for number one because they're at number 7. So you're going to have to give up a lot more to go from 7 to 1. Than having to go from 3 to 1. Like I mentioned, I said this yesterday. I said it this morning while talking about the Giants potentially trading it. Trading for the number one overall pick. Since this is a weaker draft, possibly I believe that you're at number 3 and you're going up to number 1. I don't even know if you actually have to trade a first to get to number 1. I think if being at 3 like the Giants are, you might be able to give up 2 seconds with their number 3 overall and maybe a third or a fourth round pick with those 2 second-round picks, and you get the number 1 overall pick. I think it's a lot more difficult at number 7, like the Jets are, compared to being at number 3 to land it. And I think that if you're at number 7 and you're going to have the Titans go from 1 to 7, you might probably going to have to give up a first-round pick. You're going to have to give up, not only your number 7, but another additional first-round pick with that in order to get it. I actually don't know if the Giants would actually have to give up a first-round pick going from 3 to 1 because it's not a huge jump. Like, let's go to 2023, the 2023 draft. Bryce Young traded, the Bryce Young trade. Where the Panthers traded up for Bryce Young with the Bears. The Bears were at number 1. The Bears, what did they get? They got the Panthers number 9, a first-round pick. They got also DJ Moore and 2 seconds. So it was like pick number 9, pick number 61, DJ Moore, and then it was Carolina's next year's first-round pick and the year after that, and that's what got them Caleb Williams. So it was 2 firsts and 2 seconds and DJ Moore to get Bryce Young, and so I think it would be a little bit different with this because the Jets do have a little bit of a better draft pick. They're at number 7 and not number 9, but also this draft I don't think is as valuable as the draft was 2 years ago. Like 2 years ago, you had 2 amazing quarterbacks in the draft with Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. I love Cam Ward. I think he's a great quarterback, and if the Jets are trading up to number 1, I just assume that's going to be the guy they're taking. And he could be a really good quarterback in this league, throwing the football to Garrett Wilson and having Aaron Glenn as his head coach and Aaron Glenn leading that defense. The Jets could become a solid football team if Cam Ward's the quarterback. But there is not much hype. I mean, there is hype around Cam Ward, of course, but there's not as much as hype around Cam Ward or promise as Bryce Young did. Maybe he could become a better quarterback than Bryce Young. What we saw from Bryce Young at the end of the season last year, I think Bryce Young's going to have a great third season. But I'm not saying that he's not as good as Bryce as a quarterback. I'm just saying I don't think he has as much as value not only just value, but also I don't think he has as much promise as NFL GMs or NFL teams had in Bryce. So I don't think his value is as high. So I think really in this deal, for instance, Jets have a second-round pick. They have pick number 42 in the second round. And then, obviously, they have their number 7 overall pick in the draft. So I would think you give Tennessee, obviously you get number 1 from Tennessee. You get you give them the 7th round. You give them the 7th overall pick. You give them number 42. You give them your next year's first and your next year's second or your next year's third, and I think it gets the deal done. I think most likely what gets this deal done is probably just sending pick 7, pick 42, next year's first, and that might be it. And then you might have to, at the most, I think maybe you have to add in next year's third or this year's third, potentially. But I really think pick 7 and 42 and next year's first might be able to get it done, but you probably would have to add in a third or fourth with those 3 picks. And then if you're Tennessee, you give up the first overall pick and get four picks for that. 2 firsts, 1 second, maybe a third or fourth. That wouldn't be terrible if you're Tennessee. You don't feel confident in the quarterback that's in this draft. Maybe you have another another bad year. And next year maybe you could have 2 really nice first round picks. Who knows? It's not a terrible idea for Tennessee. I mean, you could do what Chicago did, but have a better plan with it. Like Chicago trading their first overall pick and giving that first overall pick up to send to Carolina and get Carolina's draft pick. They were the worst team in football last season. Not the 2024 season, but 2023 season. They were the worst team in football, and that got Chicago the first overall pick. And then they had their own good draft pick. So they had 2 picks last year in the top 10. That could end up being Tennessee this year if they trade their pick. They could have 2 picks in the top. They could have 1 pick in the top 10 this year and 2 in the next year if everything works out for them. So that's why this trade could potentially be a good thing for the Titans. But let me know your thoughts on the potential trade for the New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans in the comment section, and peace out.